Here right now, with perspective, is Dan Perry, a former chief editor for the Associated Press of the Middle East, Europe, and Africa, now has on Substack something called Ask Questions Later. I want to put up Dan's latest piece, which is called The Art of the Sellout, saying giving Putin so much on Ukraine, Trump's attacking America's allies, not his adversaries. So Dan joins us now. Live from Barcelona. So, some people will say, and I'm sure some Trump supporters are thinking it right now, we don't care what the rest of the world thinks of us. But it does matter. What does the rest of the world think as they look at all this the last couple of days?
Oh, the rest of the world is figuring out that the U.S. president basically is not only selling out Ukraine, but is opposed to the fundamental global order that America built after World War II. That was supported by every U.S. president, Democrat or Republican. He seems determined to burn down the house. And it's not really only about Ukraine. I mean, J.D. Vance was just at the Munich Security Conference speaking against the Europeans, shocking everyone in the room with his statements that the real danger is not Russia, but rather internal European politics, and then going off to meet the head of the AfD, the far-right party that most Germans consider to be neo-Nazi. So the Europeans are agitated, and I would say rightly so.
So you think about it, and we were just having this conversation with someone who does support the president. They said, well, you know what, this is him negotiating. He's going to get to peace. Nobody else can do it. I want to put up another quote, though, from your piece, The Art of the Sellout, talking about by pushing toward an endgame and engaging Russian President Vladimir Putin so warmly, he, meaning Trump, risks making premature concessions to a leader whose ambitions may extend far beyond Ukraine. Talk about that a little bit in terms of how you set up a negotiation.
Well, that's just it. I mean, there were always two ways to view Ukraine. One is, well, they got to do a deal and we'll have to give up some land. And the other was by no means allow that, because that would be appeasement and it'll whet Putin's appetite and he'll go after Moldova and the Baltics next. Both are legitimate points of view. Trump obviously holds the former. But the issue here is that whichever of the two ideas you might have in your head, Trump is pursuing his version of reality in a way that is completely ham-fisted and frankly looking like a sucker. I mean, you don't give away bargaining chips before the bargaining has even begun. And let's just look at what he's done in recent days. Hegseth is saying that Ukraine will never be in NATO. Well, that's a big bargaining chip right there. He is negotiating with Putin above Ukraine's head and above the head of the European allies as an equal, giving Putin that status. That's a big thing to give Putin. He is parroting Kremlin talking points that are factually correct. And honestly, to the 4% approval rating that he said Zelensky has, I don't know where that came from.
No, it's more like 50 in the polls I saw, or something like that. So it's
call him a dictator is absurd when Putin is the dictator whose elections are a total sham. So I don't know. This isn't America first. It's Putin first.
All right, Dan. Good to see you as always. Dan Perry with the analysis.